Today my guest is Sarah Dutkiewicz. Sarah, how are you?
Doing good, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing great. I just saw your talk. It was on PowerShell. What was the name of the talk?
So it was an intro to PowerShell, and then we briefly got into extending PowerShell.
Yeah, PowerShell. So I used to think of PowerShell as one of those tools that's the infrastructure guys used. When they're deploying software and they're maintaining software. I used to think, used to, that this wasn't something I really needed to learn. And I'm changing my opinion about that, in part because of your talk.
What exactly did you get from my talk that makes you think more about it now?
Well, for one thing, I like the idea that I could create my own PowerShell commandlets.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That gives me some power to do it. And for another thing, I actually am, not so much from your talk, but I'm working a lot with tools like SharePoint, and they just have some things that make life a little easier. I don't have to go through and click and do that. So even though I'm not doing deployment, I still have to deal with that when I want to run my code.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of clicking and a lot of navigating menus or just sort of script.
And so that's part of what I like about PowerShell is it takes away the clicking, the wizards, the click next, click next, click next, click finish. You can just go ahead and in PowerShell load up the web administration module, for example, if you're doing IIS, or SharePoint, I'm sure has its own administration modules, where you can just do it right at the command line and say, okay, you know what? Do whatever kind of administration task you want in one line of code and run it. You don't have to go next, wait for the wizard to do some more things, set some other paths. PowerShell lets you just do it all at once in one command line, a lot shorter. And it's usually a lot quicker too.
Let's back up a little bit. So just define PowerShell. Somebody walks up to you in the elevator, and says, "What's this PowerShell thing I've been hearing about?"
So PowerShell, think of it like this. Think of it as the beauty of being able to script and automate your tasks using and also having access to .NET libraries.
Okay.
So here, being at MI Gang, we have a bunch of .NET developers. They already know what the power of .NET is.
Right.
They understand the difference of objects and types and all that fun stuff. And then scripting it and automating it means taking a lot of the hassle, a lot of the waiting for wizards to move on to the next step, a lot of the manual, build this project, then build this project to build this project. You can automate these things using PowerShell.
Okay. So let's talk about it from a user's point of view. I'm going to automate these tasks using these are commandlets, right? Commandlets that somebody else built.
So
what's my process of getting up to speed running or getting just actually using PowerShell?
Okay, so PowerShell comes on some operating system by default, like Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2, for example.
If I don't have that, do I need to download something?
If it's an older version like a Windows XP or Windows Server 2003, then you can download it off the Microsoft site.
Okay.
But what's nice with having third-party tools, other people can write modules. Modules are packages of commands and functions and aliases, for example. They can package it into this little thing called a module that you can then go ahead and bring into your computer. There's something.
So you bring it to just copy it, just X-copy it on my computer.
Well, where you would X-copy it is into one of the folders that's in the PS module path. The PS module path is an environment variable, and in there it usually points to something like in your user documents folder. It's documents, Windows, PowerShell modules, and then that's where you list. There's different folders with each of your modules' names.
Okay, so if I X-copy it into one of those subfolders, then it's available to me. Is that from the command prompt?
You can copy or unzip the files from a command prompt or from a GUI into the modules
I'm talking about
folder.
execute or running them.
Oh, so when you're bringing them into PowerShell, you use a commandlet called import module. Okay. Now, what's nice is that you can see what's already in your PowerShell session using something called get module. If you don't have your third-party ones installed, though, if you do just a simple get module and don't see the one you're looking for on that list, you could do a get module space -list available, and that'll list all of the modules that you can bring into your session. And then once you see that, then you can do import module and then the module name.
Import module, get module. These are commands that I'm typing in.
Correct.
Where am I typing those?
So you're typing these in one of two spots. Either you're working in the PowerShell console. That kind of looks like think of it by default like a DOS prompt almost. Okay. Only it's got the blue background with the white text.
Okay.
Kind of like taking it back to
that's built into Windows 7 and Windows Server.
It's part of that's PowerShell's console.
Okay.
And then what you guys saw today in my talk was PowerShell ISE, the integrated scripting environment. And if you're typing these import module get module commands, you're typing them in the command pane.
Okay.
So in the integrated scripting environment, there were 3 panes. There was the script pane, which is up at the top. So that allows us to write all of our scripts into one file.
Okay.
Without having to have the interpreter interpret each line individually.
I see.
And then you've got the command window, and then you have the output window.
Okay.
Command window and output window, the way I did them tonight is I had a little one to type the command, and then the output was bigger below. Those are resizable, and those are also toggleable. You can move them, switch them so that they're in the other order as well. So you can have either command on top or the output on top.
Okay, that's a little bit like the immediate window in Visual
Similar,
Studio.
yeah.
You're just typing commands on the fly and
Very similar.
it's outputting the output of that command.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then the other window is sort of just a text editor.
Yeah, pretty much. So the script panels thing of it is a glorified text editor.
Okay.
I say glorified because you can do things like you can press F9 to set your breakpoints. You can do F5.
It's also a debugger then.
It's got its debugger, and the keyboard shortcuts are very much similar to your Visual Studio shortcuts.
Does that have IntelliSense?
No IntelliSense.
All right.
But it does have you if you're working in the command window, not the script panel, but the command window, you've got tab completion.
Oh, okay.
So that'll help you figure out some of the stuff.
So you have to type half of a command or a third of a command and press tab and it'll complete it for you.
Right, and you can continue to press tab to cycle through multiple commands until you find the command that you were looking for.
Okay. All right. So that's how you can run it. That also is built in to included with Visuals, or I'm sorry, with Windows 7 and Server R.
PowerShell.
Server doesn't need R2.
Right.
Okay. So what are is that what I use, that development environment, or the scripting environment, to create my PowerShell scripts?
So there are third-party tools out there like a Power GUI or some other third-party editors out there if you want to use those. You can use, if you're doing a script, it's easier to do like the integrated scripting environment right out of the box because of that script panel.
Okay.
Because imagine trying to write a script and you do something like import module blah, and when you press enter, then it's going to interpret it. That gets annoying after a while because then you start having output in between commands. So that's why you use the script panel in integrated scripting environment. The other thing is you could do it in Notepad or Notepad++.
Okay, so PowerShell scripts, they're just text files.
They're just text files.
And they're interpreted at runtime. There's no binary DLLs or anything like that.
So the DLLs that you'll see are typically modules that somebody else has written, usually in C#, and it allows them to bring their business logic they already have in C#.
Okay, let's talk about that then. So far we've been talking just about scripts.
Yeah.
And now you're saying, and they're all kind of built in this PowerShell commandlet. I don't know if it's enough to call it a language, but we're just basically stringing.
It's a scripting language.
Yeah. So we're basically stringing these commandlets together in this language.
Right.
But that's just a scripting language. If we want to do more than that, we want to get some business logic in it, then we can start moving to something more powerful like C#.
Right. Well, let's say you have your business logic that it's already in C#. Let's say you want to make it so that whoever, be it usually like IT administrators or command line savvy developers, want to play in PowerShell and access these commands. You can use, there's system.management.automation and system.management, I believe, are the two.
These are assemblies that you
There are two assemblies
reference?
that you have to reference in order to get the PowerShell hooks. And then you can say, okay, based on that, then you can do a commandlet attribute. And that will tell the method that it's going to be used as a commandlet.
What kind of a project am I creating when I do that?
Oh, you're doing a simple class library.
Oh, it's just
So when you're creating...
So there isn't a file new PowerShell module?
No, it's just a simple class library that compiles into a DLL.
Okay.
And then, so you use like your commandlet attribute bindings, and then you can set parameters, and there are other bindings as well. But you can, once you have all the code put together, compiled into a DLL, then you put the DLL within a folder with that module name, whatever you want to call that module, put that folder then within one of the module path folders.
Okay. All right, and then it's available within my scripting environment. I can just call those modules?
So you'll be able to call them through using import module.
Well, I call import module, then they're available.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, if you're not sure if you've got it loaded or not, like I said, you can always run get module.
Okay.
That'll tell you what's loaded.
All
And
right.
if you do get module dash list available, that'll tell you if
So
it
if
can
I'm
see it or
creating a
not.
script, one of the first line scripts could be importing some modules, and now I've got that extra functionality available to me. Okay. All right. There's a lot of people here that know they need to learn PowerShell, but they don't yet. Where do we get started?
Where do you get started with learning PowerShell? Well, as I mentioned in tonight's talk, there are 3 commands that you really want to know when you're at the command prompt that'll get you through navigating PowerShell. There's get help. Help files in PowerShell, as you guys saw in the demo, are very much well documented. Tells you a little bit about the command. We'll give you the syntax. We'll also give you very helpful and useful examples on how to use it. There is get command. It'll tell you all the commands that are available to you in your current PowerShell session. And get member. So as I stated earlier in the talk, that all of the results that you get from PowerShell commands are objects. They're .NET objects.
Okay.
Get member will tell you more about what kind of object is being returned and any methods and properties that are attached to it as well.
Okay. And you wrote a book recently.
I did write a book.
PowerShell.
And so the book is a really long title. It's Automating Microsoft Windows Server 2008 R2 Administration with Windows PowerShell 2.0. It's a mouthful.
You should work for the guys that named Microsoft products.
Hey, I didn't get to choose the title.
Okay.
I want to blame my co-author Matt Hester for that one.
I was just a bright guy.
But,
he's been on the show.
The easiest way to get it, I tell people, is to go to http://qtlil.me/psbook.
Okay.
So QT little me,
Right.
that's me, and psbook being the PowerShell book. That will take you directly to the page on the publisher's site. It'll tell you where you can purchase the book, and it's available in softbound, and it's also available in Kindle format.
Okay. You have a web presence?
I do have a web presence. You can find me on the web at codinggeekette.com. You can also find me on Twitter as Sudoku. Pretty much any other social media site, if you look for me as Sudoku, that's the easiest way to find me. If you try to spell my last name, good luck with that.
Yeah. And I really appreciate you doing the show. And just before we go, I want to say congratulations on your upcoming birth of your first child.
On my new one. Yes,
Is it a boy or a girl?
My child item, using PowerShell's get child item terms. His name is Logan, and he's due April 4th.
Logan Dutkiewicz.
Yeah, Logan
Nice.
Logan Dutkiewicz. We will have him. He's due April 4th, so hopefully he'll be here soon. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I wanted to thank Dave for having me here on Technology and Friends. And I have to say, because he always likes these Technology and Friends lines, for me, I've got a commandlet on this one. It's get-friends-interest technology. Thanks, Dave, for having me on the show.